we met a lot of people, the organizer, and we said, it's crazy, in the small village you can have this fest, it's crazy.
When I first came here, you couldn't even find like a proper cafe.
Just driving in with the bus into Bansko, you just saw all of these ads about investing into real estate in Bansko.
The beginning, the first stone was basically coworking Bansko. This is what Matthias and I established together.
Since the Nomads come, people realize we can stay there as well and have our work there, and we don't need to go to the big city. There are a lot of Bulgarians that came back from abroad that heard about Bansko, that are living there, that are in our community, and they totally love it and say like, look, I don't want to go back to Sofia or to a big city. I'm super happy here.
So I came to Bansko the first time about 10 years ago. And initially, of course, there were no nomads. I remember very well when, together with my co-founder Uwe, we started to talk about Bansko and we want to attract nomads, and people told us, you guys are crazy, no nomad will ever come to Bansko.
Bansko used to be this ski town only, and in summer it was a ghost town, it was a dead place. It used to be a party town, and now it has developed into this nomad hub. And now you can see that Bulgarians coming to Bansko actually realize that there is something more going on, and they get to know Bansko on a very different plane, from a very different side. And I think this is so great to see that we see the value. And now we have this economic growth and we have this economic bubble. So we help each other.
When we started it, we didn't start it because we thought this is the best place in the world to do a big business for nomads. So we started it because it's a small mountain town. I'm from Munich, so I like the mountains, and I wanted to pay less taxes. And the co-working for us was basically a way to have a place to invite friends, to play board games, and to have a place where we can work. Of course, I love Asia, right? But Asia is too hot for me. And then a friend of mine mentioned, Matthias, there's a country called Bulgaria. It's in the EU, it has Mediterranean climate, and it has only 10% income tax. And when I heard 10% income tax, it was clear to me I have to check it out. I motivated a friend of mine, Uwe, as well as a few other people to come with me to explore this place. So for one summer, we rented a house in Bansko together with a group of 10 nomads. And at the end of the summer, Uwe and I, we decided, okay, we want to move here. We want to do something, and we found the first co-working manager for us, and then was pretty clear, okay, we have to kind of stay here.
What dragged you in Bansko?
So what I really liked is environment. So I like to be in small towns where everything is walkable, where you don't have pollution, where you don't have cars, where kind of everyone knows your name. And then what I really liked about Bulgaria is that cost of living is very low. There's very few regulations, so there's a lot of freedom. I think it's a great place for people that enjoy the mountains.
When was the first time when you've been in Bansko?
That was 2013, though that was in the winter. So the city's built up a lot since then. Back then it was mostly just apartments and skiing, whereas now there's restaurants, there's people to see, there's events going on, not just during Nomad Fest, there's stuff all the time. So it's a much more interesting city since then.
I think it has been amazing, a blessing for the city, because it was more of a sleepy winter ski resort with kind of like, catering to certain type of travelers like Brits that would come to ski or Bulgarians, and now it's becoming like a nomad town, like international nomad town. And I think nomads have purchased properties here, they have brought companies, there are a lot of initiatives. When I first came here, you couldn't even find like a proper cafe. And now you have like 3, 4, 5 choices, like for best coffee and cappuccino and stuff. So this is already, I think very good signs of growth and sustainable growth for the city.
It took us about 3 years to figure out that co-working Bansko is actually a real business and not only a hobby. And once we figured out it's a business, we decided, okay, we have to promote it. And what's the best way to promote a place that nobody knows is to create events. Because an event is less risky for someone to go to, right? You know what an event is. There are going to be speakers, there's people, there's going to be fun. And after a week, you can go somewhere else. And we tried to compress everything that we would do in the co-working space into a conference format. So we would also do skill shares before. So now, of course, we have a bigger stage for skill shares. We would do a lot of sport activities. We would go in the mountains. We would go to the hot springs. We would have food. But now, instead of spreading this out over the period of a month or two, we compress everything into 1 week. And this was basically how Bansko Nomad Fest started.
So you opened the co-working space in which year?
2016.
And then started to do Bansko Nomad Fest?
About 2020, so about 4 years later.
At the French bakery to get a sandwich. Lovely.
French bakery, the one that's...
French bakery.
Around the corner.
Yeah, I have seen it. The French guy.
Yeah, the French
Yeah,
guy.
French guy.
You know, you have this like international people, expat people, and you have these people like us, world schoolers, homeschoolers. And yeah, we said maybe we can have our home base here, and so we decided to live here and open this business. And maybe Bansko is not just a small village with nothing. Maybe there is like a vibe, an atmosphere. I don't know. It's a small village, but with people, they're from the big cities. So you feel like the energy.
There's this very unique thing going on in Bansko that we had been looking for because we lived in Paris before. We went to live in the countryside in a village of 400 people and loved it, but it always felt like we had to find a compromise between what a big city can offer in terms of opportunity and culture and people and quality of life. And it just felt like, wow, in Bansko, there's like beautiful nature. You feel like you're in a village. You talk to the babas. People cut their wood, grow their vegetables. You have all these amazing conversations with people from around the world and who are in similar paths of reinventing their lives or deciding that they don't want the traditional way of working, where people can talk, where there's good food and good conversation, and it doesn't matter where you're from or who you are or what your economic status is, you're welcome the same.
Supporting local economy is very easy, right? Because we spend money there. I think also we had a little bit of a transformational effort on the city. For example, a lot of nomads are vegans and vegetarians, and most restaurants in Bansko didn't really know what to do, especially with vegans. This was very weird. So we started to convince one of the biggest grocery stores there to stack like vegan meat patties, vegan cheese, non-lactose milk. And then we told the restaurant, this is where you can buy this stuff. And now there's more and more restaurants that also offer vegan options, for example.
Actually, today I got vegan sushi in the French bakery, so I'm very interested to see how that is going.
But in the last year and a half, there may be 30 new businesses that have opened that have a bit of an urban tang to them, which continue to create more diversity. Bakeries that are more like vegan oriented, little cake shops that are really where people put a lot of love into what they do. That's what we're realizing, that there are more and more couples, families who have, from Bulgaria also, who have left the bigger cities to live in Bansko and give it a shot.
We should really bring in the teenagers. I believe it would be really impactful for the city. It would give us a lot of credibility that we do something where we include the Bulgarians. I mean, that's always the ambition of the Nomads, no, to do something together. Give them responsibility, show them, hey, there is a lot of potential in the future of Bansko.
My name is Javor. I live in London, but I'm originally from Bogojgrad, and my friends and I opened Lembas Bakery in the beginning of the year because, yeah, we love delicious food, we love bread, and we wanted to share our passion for it with everyone else. I came around the Nomad Fest thing last year. The work started around June, so this is when we found out, like, with so many people passing by, some people even asked what we're doing, and this is how we got to know what's actually happening in the city. We like Bansko, like the diversity that's coming up with all the people, internationals that are moving to the city. It seems like a really diverse and lively place.
So what's important to understand is that Bansko is a tourist place, right? So in the winter season, there's about 25,000 tourists in town. And even at the most, like, nomads are maybe like 200, 300 on average.
So there's the winter season that brings a lot of people, and then there's the Nomad Fest in the summer. And not just nomads, families as well. And different nationalities who are not necessarily the digital nomads, not necessarily world schooling per se, but they have some sort of nomadic life as well that's not in one of those categories. And they populate Bansko for months at a time.
So compared to the huge amount of tourists, we are not really noticeable. Of course, we believe we are super important. I believe we are super important, but for the actual business, it's not so much. But of course, we had a little bit of an impact because there's an off season and nomads come year round. So for restaurants, for example, we have some restaurants where we like to go. And these places, of course, appreciate the business in off season.
For example, in May, June time, Bansko was still lively, and many of the businesses around started opening even earlier than the jazz festival that they used to because of the influx of people. So it only shows that the Nomad Fest is helping the city grow as well, because it's bringing all these other people joining together and the city naturally grows.
But also, I think we need to be careful as nomads that we don't have this savior complex, that we go somewhere and now we will improve these people's lives. Because most of us, we don't even know how to live our lives. So who are we to give people feedback on how they should live their lives? So I think it's great to spend money locally. It's also great to go to places that are less touristic because it helps in the off-season, helps to develop places. But I don't think we need to tell people how they can live their lives, because most of them are pretty smart and they know as well what they want to accomplish. I mean, I recommend to everyone, take a look at Bulgaria. I think it's super cool for nomads, also because of the 10% taxation. If you love the mountains, you know where to find me, but Bulgaria also has beaches, there's Black Sea. So it's a really interesting country with lots of interesting traditions and cultures.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Digital nomads did change a bit the life of the Bansko Nomad Fest. Now, new coffee place opening, people from Sofia more comfortable come to Bansko, Bulgaria, because they see that life is going on. Restaurants are open during summer, but we are not the only reason. It's like a ball. All details are coming together, and one triggers another. And while digital nomads are not the only reason why the Bansko city is alive during summer, I think it played a major role.
And we're done.